Hello and welcome, YouTube. So, this week we got introduced to a character who is a lot more nuanced than I thought he was going to be. But before I get into that too much, let's get into this review of episode 9. So, we actually start off right where we left off in the last episode with the ramen cart, and I thought that was a cute scene. But particularly, what I liked about this scene was where one of the cute girls of the village was like, Senku, what kind of girls do you like? Because why not? And Senku goes, oh, I like the ones who can work really, really hard. And I thought it was just hilarious because Senku, as always, is very straightforward. And again, I don't know if you can call it selfish, but he knows what he wants. And then we get introduced to Gen. Now, I may have mentioned him in previous reviews briefly, but let me just say, he is a lot more mysterious and a lot more nuanced than I had anticipated. I thought he was just going to be like a straightforward weasel of a character, because you knew when you saw him in the opening that he was going to be such a little rat of a character. Like, just look at him. But I like how he's being introduced into the show because just by his design, he's clearly like a sinister character, but his intentions are not straightforward whatsoever. Because he says right off the bat that he's with Tsukasa, but he does this whole song and dance of like, oh, well, I could go tell Tsukasa that I saw you and he could come down here. But I don't know, I kind of like this whole Kingdom of Science thing. And I think what his whole shtick is going to be is that Senku's thing is he's really smart with science. Now, he can be a charismatic person and he can persuade people in that sense, but he's not always that slick. I think obviously all the characters are very specialized in skills, but I think what we're going to see with Gen is that he's going to be smart, but he's going to be a different kind of smart. Like with Taiju and Tsukasa, they're both strong, but they're different kinds of strong. And we're seeing that here. Gen and Senku are both smart, but we're seeing two kinds of intelligence. And with Gen, it's this ability to trick people and this ability to trick people into doing what he wants. Now, let's be clear, he's not charismatic. Everyone, like, immediately is suspicious of him. So it's not like he's a, like, super likable character, but he knows how to work at people's needs and interests. So I think he's a valuable asset, but he's definitely going to be a threat to our main cast of heroes, because I definitely see him piggybacking back and forth between Tsukasa, Senku. He's got electricity. Oh, but now he's got an army. Oh, but now he has... I really like his character because not only is he a different kind of smart, but I think what we're going to see is to add to this political drama between the two nations is we're going to have this battle of spies where Taiju and Yuzuriha are in the background spying on Tsukasa. Hopefully, we haven't seen them since they departed. And then we're also going to have Gen kind of doing his little game of, okay, who can I trick today? Like, who can I screw over and help Gen out? But I'm curious to see how he plays out in the major plot. Aside from Gen's introduction, we also saw the cast and their mission to smelt the iron and build a magnet so they can get electricity. Now, my initial thought was, wow, they're doing this really quick, which that's the point of the show, to speed up civilization. it's just, wow, all right, they're already going to have electricity, which I guess they sort of need for medicine. But again, I'm like, wow, that was quick. We are not even 10 episodes in, and they're already going to have electricity. So I like seeing that whole mission of them going for the lightning. I have to say, though, and it kind of, they sort of pointed out the irony, but as soon as Senku said, man, we could really use lightning right about now, and lightning came, I could not hold it in. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud at how ridiculous that was. Now, I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think it didn't hurt the episode at all. But I was like, wow, you actually did that. You actually went, oh, wow, we could really use lightning right now. And then, psh, lightning. And then we had the scene where they actually went on top of the mountain so that they could take their magnet, or they could take that iron, use it as a lightning rod, and get a magnet. I apologize if I'm not explaining it in the best. I am not a scientist in the least, so it's a little tricky for me to keep track of how exactly they're going about everything. That's not to say I don't love it. That's why I like the show, and that's why most people love the show for the science and not for all the drama. But I digress. So, I really liked how quick Kohaku was to just go yoink and take that gold spear from Ginro, which, he was so hurt. He had his little toy. He had his little golden spear. He thought he was so cool. And then, yoink, Kohaku just takes it. But hey, they got electricity. I'm sure he'll get another toy. Or maybe he won't. I don't know. Kinro was kind of disrespected that he didn't get a silver spear. I thought maybe he should have gotten a silver spear. But that's just me. Now, I should point out, I just said that a lot of people are in the show for the science and not the drama. Specifically, a lot of people are more interested in all the science and the build eye stuff than the deeper meaning of the show. But I can't ignore the fact that what I love so much about this show, on top of all the cool science stuff, is the deeper meaning that's underlying in the plot. And I thought this episode was another great example. It wasn't as major necessarily as in previous episodes, but what I really liked was when they get that light bulb. Because by all means, if nothing else, one of the major achievements of mankind is obviously electricity. And I thought it was cool how they framed this, where Senku asks Chrome, hey, are you afraid of the dark? Are you afraid of the night? And Chrome's like, well, yeah, it's dark. Like, yeah, that makes sense. It's hard to imagine having lights ever since you were born. But even when you're a kid, you're afraid of the dark. So I would imagine that's how people who have never had electricity... I mean, they do have fire. I don't... They have fire. I don't get... That part I didn't really buy in. It didn't move me that... He was afraid of the night. But... I don't know. That wasn't what I liked about it. I liked everything that followed that. Just that little part. I was like, yeah, I guess he's afraid. But I mean, like, how old is he? Anyway. So we have that scene where he's like, hey, are you afraid of the night? And he goes, yeah, it's dark. And he goes, well, in my time, we conquered the dark. Which I do want to say, both literally and metaphorically, is a great point. We conquered the dark, which a lot of what's great about human ingenuity is that we found ways to plan ahead, like to plan for the future. And they point that out with we conquered the 24-hour day. So literally, what's good about this point is that now humans can do whatever they want any hour of the day, and they're not tied to when the sun is up or when it's down. But metaphorically, what I really liked about that was what's so fascinating about humans is that they're so specialized in visualizing things, and you can see that because if you're ever blinded, you're almost rendered helpless. So that analogy of light and dark and human progress really moved me, because part of what makes humans so great is our intelligence, and specifically our ability to use our knowledge to innovate. So that phrase that they conquered the dark, they conquered the night, to me it was almost like in my time we conquered everything that was out against us. We conquered the elements that made us like you guys, the villagers who are stuck on this island. We conquered everything that served as a hurdle to our survival through the light. So I thought, even though it really it wasn't subtle, because it was they clearly made a big deal out of it, but I think the way they phrased it, you wouldn't have thought of that analogy. Maybe not the first time, but I can't ignore the underlying meaning of this show, because part of it is just science in general. Science, as it stands, is an accolade of human achievement. But I just think the way this show goes about promoting science and the innovations that they bring to humanity, part of why I love this show so much is it brings to light, episode after episode after episode, what makes mankind so special. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the episode. I thought it was another great one, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. If you liked what I had to say in this video, make sure you like it. If you're looking forward to my future reviews, or if you're interested in my other videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you're interested in just what I have to say in general, make sure you follow me on Twitter, because I do try to be really active, and I hope to hear from you soon.